Okay, I think we should be good to go. Today's panel, AI for Cancer Detection and Treatment, brings together experts at the intersection of technology and medicine. AI is transforming oncology, offering earlier diagnosis, tailored therapies, and new hope for patients. But with innovation comes complexity. We are talking about ethical concerns, data equity, and clinical integration. Hi, this is Pankaj Gupta from Mithom Venture Partners. We are a deep tech revenue scaler and fund based out of Singapore with approximately 120 startups in our portfolio. With industry leaders today, let's explore not just what AI can do, but what it must do to serve humanity in the fight against cancer. To start the introduction, I would request our esteemed panelists to introduce themselves. If I may request Peter to do a quick 30 seconds introduction. Peter, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peter, and I'm a healthcare transformation consultant. I work at Guidehouse. And kind of to echo what he just said, my work really sits at the intersection of clinical operations, revenue cycle, and forward deployed AI systems. And I help hospital systems move pilots into measurable outcomes, spend most of my time translating between technical and clinical worlds, making sure the models and the algorithms don't just work in the lab, but actually integrate into the workflows.
So you're going to provide a lot of AI perspective today. Thanks a lot, Peter, for joining in. Really appreciate your time today. Revat, may I request you to go next, please?
Hello, guys. My name is Dr. Lakhia. I'm a consultant radiologist based in India. I work for different clinical trials and the routine radiology services from India for the world. And we use AI model for routine services for the PACS and as well as the clinical trials, mainly in the oncology. Thank you.
Thanks. Really appreciate that. And Dr. Revat was actually telling me earlier that they are already adopting AI solutions in their world. So it's really good to see that they are extremely innovation friendly, and I'm sure they will have a lot of really interesting insights on how the AI is being adopted. So thanks a lot, Dr. Revat, for joining us today. Jonathan, may I request you to go next, please?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Dr. Jonathan Gregory. I'm a cancer surgeon by background. I worked in the NHS in England for 22 years. I now work through my own consultancy in health technology, that intersectional expert between clinical sort of frontline, what it needs to do, how it needs to do it, and the technology. I'm also a national clinical advisor for Macmillan Cancer Support, a very large cancer charity here in the UK.
Fantastic. Appreciate that, Jonathan. And again, I think your perspective on cancer surgery is going to be extremely valuable. Really appreciate that. Shai, may I request you to go next, please? Quick intro.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Shai Cohen. I'm CEO and co-founder of Genesis Medical Vision. Genesis is an early detection of cancer AI platform, where the company is pioneering a completely new and different approach to AI and image and pattern recognition, which is fundamentally non-statistical and truly allows us to imitate and replicate the logic and intuition of the physician. And thanks to that, solve some of the main problems which are hampering the adoption of AI into medical imaging in general, but specifically into the early detection of cancer, one of the main topics we'll be speaking about today.
Amazing. Thanks a lot, Shai, for your time today. Dr. Roya, a quick introduction, please.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me to be part of this panel. My name is Roya Khosravi-Far. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Innotech Precision Medicine, where we're developing the next generation of molecular diagnostics that integrates multi-omics detection from the same specimen. And for our first indication, we're doing oropharyngeal cancer, and we have specimen to results in 30 minutes. So basically, I was a professor at Harvard Medical School for over 18 years. I'm a emeritus faculty at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, affiliated with Harvard Medical School. And I came to realization that early detection, molecular detection and screening can really impact on better therapy, earlier therapy, and major impact on patients. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Roya. Extremely pertinent to today's conversation. So really appreciate your time today. Dr. Venkat, please introduce yourself, a quick introduction.
Hello there. Thank you very much for inviting me to join this esteemed panel. I'm Dr. Venkat Surigale. I'm a consultant radiologist by profession. I worked in the NHS, qualified in the NHS, and been there for almost 20 years. Being a radiologist, I can work my scans out from anywhere in the world. So I moved back to India, where my family is. Sometimes I go other places, exotic places, take my machines and do my CT scans. I do come across cancer quite a bit. I'm using AI since the last 7 years in my day-to-day work as a radiologist. I'm also a co-founder. I'm actually a serial entrepreneur, having multiple hats within healthcare. I'm a co-founder for a hospital in India. We are also doing some AI work on gut health, trying to discover new medicines regarding gut health. In other fields, I'm also an advisor for AI and health tech firms. We in Hyderabad, where I come from, have got one of the largest innovation centers, which is called T-Hub. I'm one of their clinical advisors. So in short, that's it, but a pleasure to be here, and hopefully we can all keep in touch later on as well.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Dr. Venkat. And I'm sure that you may have seen the evolution of AI in the radiology and diagnostic space. So I think that perspective would be really interesting. Now I would request Dr. Vikram Patil, moderator of today's session, to introduce himself. And I know that he prepared some really interesting questions for all the panelists, and he's going to get insights in a few seconds. Dr. Vikram, please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's a privilege to be a moderator today. I am Dr. Vikram Patil. I'm the Dean for Clinical and Translational Research at JSS, Academy of Higher Education Research, Mysore. I also am a professor of radiology, and I have been involved with AI-based activities right from the word it began, the buzz began across the world. And today we are all gathered to discuss the biggest revolution happening in the world right now, in medicine right now, and that's AI and fight against cancer. So to begin, let me start with a stark reality. The burden of cancer is escalating globally, and experts predict that there will be 35 million new cancer cases in 2050. And 2/3 of these fatalities are expected to be in low and middle income countries. This exponential rise is placing immense pressure on healthcare systems worldwide. And the key is quite simple, it looks like. It's early detection and precision treatment. If we focus on these two aspects, probably the world would be a different place. And I thank Atham Venture Partners and Genesis Medical Vision for taking up this wonderful discussion today. So, and we know the panel is extremely capable of answering all the questions. To begin with, I would request each one of you to give me an opening remark, a one-line sentence about what you feel is the biggest opportunity that AI can offer in oncology. You can go from probably the same order we just started, starting with Peter, and we go on the same order.
Yeah, that's a great question. The biggest opportunity here is the shared responsibility and liability between machine and person. Giving doctors the ability to almost become superhuman is to me very motivating, almost the holy grail in this space.
Yeah, great, thank you. The next, I think Jonathan,
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I think for me, it's really about it's creating space that allows us to be more patient-centric, more empathetic, by taking some of the burden away and focusing our abilities where we deliver. Humans are always going to outperform machines, or likely to, for being empathetic and compassionate. So creating some space for that, and simultaneously challenging clinical biases and heuristics. So very much, as Peter was saying, it's bringing the best out of us rather than competing with us.
Wonderful. Can we hear from Revat next?
Yeah, I would say AI would be a tool for data interpretation as well as the image interpretation, which will enhance the course of diagnosis and treatment and the overall patient management.
Wonderful. Can we hear from Dr. Roya next?
Sure. So I think the key word here is that AI will be a tool. I don't think AI on its own in the next 20 years or 10 years is going to be diagnosing. We still need the human interface, and we need the AI is going to enable clinicians and scientists to provide earlier detection and better, more targeted therapy for precision diagnostics, precision medicine, and have a significant impact in patient outcome, and also the help patients live better lives. And hopefully we can incorporate everyone included, so that this innovation is not just for high income countries, but also for low and middle income countries as well, by having all inclusive technical advancements.
Yeah, great, Dr. Roya. Can we hear from Dr. Venkat next?
Yes, I think three things come to my mind. Patient safety. There are so many cases of still missed cancers, late diagnosis. That can really be bridged. That gap can be really bridged with AI implementation at various levels in healthcare. The second thing is improve the accessibility of cutting edge technology. Of course, me being in India currently, there's a lot of gap in accessibility because it's a huge country. There are limited resources and accessibility to various groups of patients. And AI can really, to a large extent, try to bridge that gap. The third and most exciting thing, which I feel and which I'm currently working at the moment, is targeted precision medicine. Because now, if you see a cohort of lung cancer, we have a set protocols where we do similar treatment, if not exactly the same for each cohort of patients. But actually, every individual is a different individual. So if we can build algorithms for precision medicine, which is exactly what we are doing currently with gut treatment, we're building precision medicine where you diagnose the case and put that patient as an individual and target the treatment so that outcomes are much, much better rather than giving a generic type of treatment for the whole cohort of that disease. I think these three areas are really exciting. Thank you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Last and but not the least, I would want Mr. Shea to speak up now, because we want the innovators, the industry, to speak about what is their opinion as well. Please go ahead, Shea.
Sure. I think that AI, specifically in diagnosis, could play a crucial role alongside all the progress that is happening on the treatment side, personalized medicine, as we just spoke, in not only overcoming cancer, but making it a chronic condition. And we are already in the path towards that. I'm completely agree with all the panelists that AI alone won't do it. It's here to empower the physicians, to make them better physicians. And this is exactly what we're here for.
Wonderful. Thank you all for your wonderful opening remarks. And the buzzword across seems to be precision medicine, global equity, and speed and scalability. I think we can do a marvelous change if we can incorporate all these into our ecosystem. So what we can now look into is the various subheadings in which we can discuss and understand these And first, let's understand, can the machine truly beat the human eye? So, Revat, I would like you to answer this. You are an independent radiology reviewer with vast experience, especially acting as a first human checkpoint in complex clinical trials. You look at hundreds of critical images every week. So, based on your experience, do you think AI actually can stack up against traditional radiology when finding cancer early? And can you break down the hard evidence from clinical trials or your own experience? What are the key sensitivity and specificity numbers telling us about AI's true performance in the real world? Over to you, Revan.
Yeah. So here is a breakdown, I will say, how AI can stack up versus traditional radiology a human can perform for early cancer detection based on various clinical trials, systemic reviews, and various self-diagnostic studies. It's promising, but at the same time, it's chaos. So I'll divide the things according to the type of cancer and the modality we use. So let's start with the lung cancer. So there is a study PubMed which was published for UK lung cancer screening, which is almost a trial of more than 1,000 scans. So they compared the commercial AI software with the human readers with histological outcome as a golden standard. So what they detected, AI detected almost 31 baseline lung cancers in the sample, and negative predictivity value was more than 99%. So using AI as a first reader could reduce the human CT reading workload by more than 75%. This is what the study says. Similar, there is a one systemic review published for the single lung nodule. So compared to the radiologist, AI model had a higher sensitivity for detecting the lung nodules. Surprisingly, it is more than a radiologist. So 86 to 90% for AI model versus the radiology is about 60 to 70%. But it has the lower specificity, which is, I think, very alarming. So I would not go into much detail for the chest X-ray. So nowadays, chest X-ray is not a routine investigation line for even for the diagnosis, even for the clinical trials. And let's go to the breast cancer. So it is also very promising. So we can have a mammography and MRI for the breast cancers. So in the PubMed, I found one study of the meta-analysis where AI sensitivity was 0.7 to 0.9%. And specificity was also very closer for AI and radiologists. So they concluded that AI showed a promising accuracy, sometimes better sensitivity, but likely not to replace the radiologist, more than an adjunct. So there was a prospective clinical diagnostic setting for the private sector. So where more than 1,000 patients, including screening and the routine mammography, were included, and that was more than 2 years follow-up. So AI performed well, but human readers had a varying experience. It is also very important. I would say, as if we compare for AI and human readers for the mammography. So RSNA, when I found one published study where AI specificity was higher than an average human reader at the sensitivity of 91%. But AI took few false positive results as compared to the human readers. I think that is one alarming thing I would say. I will conclude with the division of the strengths and the struggles. I would say the challenges we can find. So high sensitivity for the small nodules, that is a good thing for AI. AI can reduce the workload by acting as a first or second reader, not an independent, but as an adjunct to the human reader. So when AI and human reader coexist together, it will be a good idea to explore new things. So challenges we can talk about is more false positives often occurs than the anything else. AI model often trained on specific populations and some scanners, so may not perform equally well in different settings. That's the big challenge for AI in the radiology, I think, nowadays. And workload is also an issue for AI. AI can reduce the reading time and volume, but at the same time, it will increase the false positives. And human oversight is still very essential, I would say. So I will put together just like this. Here is how AI actually compares with the traditional radiologists. So AI cannot replace the radiologist, but if you are performing together with the AI in human radiology, it will give an added advantage for clinical trials and oncology.
Wonderful. Actually, that's what we are looking forward to. Probably it's always in the news, the quote nowadays is AI won't replace doctors or radiologists per se, but AI doctors who know AI or who know how to handle AI will probably replace the ones who are not using it.
Yes.
So
Very
probably
true.
that's the way future we are looking towards it also. Wonderful, Dr. Revat. Now let's hear a little from Jonathan also. Let's switch to the human side. You have focused on the patient journey for the public. Trusting a potentially opaque algorithm with a cancer diagnosis is a major psychological hurdle. From a patient confidence and acceptance perspective, how much evidence and what kind of evidence do we need before a patient trusts the machine completely? Is it purely technical, like 99% accuracy, or is it much more than that? Is it about transparency and a doctor's trusted endorsement? What is your opinion about this, Jonathan?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think we're going to see different requirements in different countries, different healthcare systems, and I think very much, between resource rich, resource poor environments in terms of that sort of acceptability threshold for patients. I think we should be mindful that trust is earned. It's not something you can buy or prove. You earn trust by, as you say, being transparent, being very transparent about your outcomes. I think this issue of explainability, where we've obviously had quite a focus to think about, should we say, in a clinician decision-making perspective, but actually, how does the clinician explain that to the patient? I think this because me and the AI think that. I don't think we've got a narrative yet to sort of get through there. I think, for want of a better word, role modeling. When the public when patients see their doctor interacting with AI solutions and see that it's supporting, not replacing, I think, that will do a significant go a significant way to opening up this sort of trust, because it's very clear, and I think this is worldwide, but certainly in the UK, it's sort of 80-90% of people do not want less time with doctors or nurses because of AI. They want different time with their doctor or nurse because of the AI. And so I think we have to reassure people that there's not that, it's not actually just a slippery slope. But fundamentally, most things are judged on actions, judged on results, aren't they? So if we can show with AI that we've got fewer errors or faster time to treatment initiation or more personalized care, and convert that evidence so that it's understandable to patients, like Revat's explanation there makes sense to all of us, and I'm sure it does to everyone on the panel. But a sort of, area under the curve and a 99% negative predictive value, that's not a language of the patient, isn't it? So we have to sort of, address that. And for me, that's about us being honest. Like, doctors aren't perfect. I mean, I think, there's lots of studies would suggest we're wrong, maybe 20% of the time, maybe a bit more. However, we're quite good at being wrong in safe ways, aren't we? And we probably overtreat as a safety. And I think if we could be a bit more open about that, such that you can then say, doctors tend to make mistakes like this, but the AI can avoid that, then I think the benefit to the public for AI becomes far more apparent, and the barriers to its use should drop.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear from you about that. And I now ask the other panelists if they have any inputs generally about clinical accuracy and trust. If anybody wants to add anything else to what Dr. Revat and Jonathan has already mentioned, it'd be great to hear about that as well. So we have had a wonderful critical first section. Now we heard about from Dr. Revat that AI is matching and sometimes even superseding humans. But also there's a catch about false positives, and we should be critical about that as well. And also Jonathan has very clearly mentioned about how transparency and human touch still holds value. And it's not just about a faster diagnosis, but a diagnosis with a human touch may be an additional value about early detection or something that we are already missing on the platform right now. That's the wonderful first section that we have. Next, we'll move on to workflow integration. So we have established that technology can be incredibly accurate, but what if we cannot integrate into a workflow? So let's understand from Dr. Venkat. You have lived in this environment of as a radiologist, and also we've been working with AI since the past 7 years now. So when you bring AI tool into a daily critical clinical workflow, does it genuinely speed things up, or does it become another friction point? I mean to say, is it a help or a hindrance, especially when we are talking about PACS integration or challenges and the real problem of alert fatigue or various other challenges that you may be encountering as you use them?
Yeah, this is actually a great topic to discuss. So initially, as we doctors, we were all very skeptical about using AI, and our group, some of the doctors within the NHS were one of the first to use it under mainstream conditions, like real life patient care. And you can imagine this was like way back 7 years, just before COVID started. So this was a really upcoming field, very exciting, but at the same time, there were a lot of teething problems. I won't say AI was, changed everything. We still had to go through. There was a bit of a learning curve, how to deal with AI. After 7 years, it still missed one case of tentorial hemorrhage on my list of CT just yesterday, literally yesterday. So it's not 100%. We still need a human eye. We still need a human touch to get the patient care. Consultants are always responsible ultimately for patient care directly. We need a person, or the patient needs a person to sue. They can't sue AI at the moment, so they need a person to sue. So consultants still have ultimate responsibility. And you as a consultant are responsible when you're using the AI, not the AI. You cannot blame AI saying that that's giving me wrong information and hence the report was not good. So that's no good. So you have to understand, I usually explain to my juniors saying that I have another junior consultant sitting with me, which is the AI. Now I just imagine that way. And then, but that also can make mistakes. But saying that, overall experience has been really fantastic. And I would not go back to my pre-AI days at all. So fantastic in the sense that I'll explain to you what happens day-to-day life. So I get a scan for all the European patients who were scanned within Europe into my desktop. And AI actually does put the worst case at the top. So instead of going through the 20, 30 patients and picking up the last one, which was the worst one, which was supposed to be the first one, actually, to be reported. But, that triage which AI is doing is wonderful. That was a never seen before advantage that we are having now. That is one thing. Second thing is, as I just said, picking up the very small near misses that we all commit as human beings. And actually, the error rate for radiologists is variable, but anywhere between 3 and 10% has been reported in various studies. Even the best of the best radiologists, they're still human. So they tend to miss because the more they report, more the brain gets to fatigue levels, and then they tend to miss or ignore. There's also, as radiologists, fellow radiologists can understand, Dr. Patil is a radiologist as well. So there's always a thing called satisfaction of search. So if there are 3 or 4 findings which are quite significant in a patient, if you find the one finding, you get very excited, all in view of patient care, but you tend to miss the other couple of findings. So that's always a problem with the human beings. That's how we are trained for and how our emotions act in that instance. But actually having AI in that instance, picks up 1, 2, 3, 4 abnormalities. So overall, I would say, we do not want to go back to pre-AI era. If anybody is not using AI currently, I would strongly recommend to start using, get on the learning curve and start using straight away, because that will do wonders, not just for patient care, but also for yourself as a learning tool. And as a radiologist, we always say learning is a lifelong thing for us. So it never stops. Every case is different and every patient is a learning tool for us. So yes, I think AI is here to stay and we have to embrace it. We have to make some improvements. But I think we only can become better doctors using AI. Thank you.
Wonderful. It's great to hear from a personal experience about how you have integrated into your workflow and how it has eased your entire process. Now, let's hear a little from Shay as well about the user experience of our radiologist is critical. They're already overloaded. What is that one non-negotiable design feature you absolutely must include to ensure a clinician doesn't immediately hate your product? What I'm asking is what specific actionable features beyond just raw accuracy make an AI tool truly usable, efficient, and most importantly, trustworthy in this high pressure clinical setting? So, what's your opinion on this, Shay?
Okay, so I think that as opposed to other disciplines where people sometimes say that nobody's looking under the hood, nobody's looking at the engine, here the engine is important. Okay, the accuracy, the low false positives are key, generating a reliability, building trust. This could really translate into real time saving, and this is where we will win. But having said that, the product layer is crucial. Okay. I feel that it is less of a technological challenge. It's more, as I regard it, it's elementary. It's a must. We have to not only fully integrate into the PAC system, we need to fully integrate into the real workflow of the radiologist. And we need to give a good thought about the user experience and the user interface of the system and bring values from other disciplines. Think even in terms of gamification. Building a product radiologist would actually enjoy working and feel it makes their job better and makes them better physicians. Allow them to focus on essence, taking all the tedious, time-consuming tasks for them, placing everything perfectly laid out for them, and allow them simply to do their jobs. I think it's crucial. I think it's elementary. I think that anyone that doesn't do that, that's you'll build the optimal engine, but the user interface is gives a lot of friction. You haven't done anything.
Wonderful, wonderful to hear from you, Shay. And as heard from both of them, workflow integration should be smooth, should be user friendly, and naturally, it should help in triaging and also picking up with a higher sensitivity, smaller lesions, which we usually tend to miss out, and also making sure that it not just is an imaging tool, but a clinical decision support system, what we can consider as it can complete the entire workflow and make sure the clinicians are also guided of how should be taken. That's wonderful to hear from both of you. I would now request any other panelists to have, if they have any opinion on workflow integration, they can just speak up.
I think that I would like to add, most of the conversation has been around radiology and how AI is supporting radiology. But in going beyond radiology, which basically AI is helping with image interpretation and image analysis, this is also used in pathology for image, for better detecting rare situations of pathological changes that are observed, that sometimes are missed, or rare sample population because of sample collection errors. In addition to that, like for example, we're using it in molecular diagnostics, and actually we have been using AI in research and development and discovery phases for over 15 years with the name of bioinformatics, data mining, and machine learning algorithms before AI became a popular language in everyone's vocabulary. AI tools have been around for many, many years. It's just that they have come into forefronts of medicine and forefronts of many other utilities. Also, AI tools are also being used when you go to the clinician office. The regular PCP says, well, I'm going to use an AI tool to notate my meeting with you. So basically that AI, yes, that's straightforward and it's a very important tool. But in terms of radiology, pathology, molecular diagnostics, AI requires a lot of data having gone into analysis to be able to use that as a tool. AI doesn't just suddenly decide if something is a lesion or not. A lot of training and a lot of validation has to go through it, and the quality of the data that is used for that training and validation and the diversity of the data is very critical for having good AI algorithms that impacts diverse populations. For example, in melanoma, dark-skinned people, AI that is used to detect melanoma currently, in aid with the clinician and the devices that they have and the images that they look at, cannot help in brown-skinned and dark color skinned, black-skinned populations, which are in low middle income countries and which are the people who lack proper clinical care. And I also want to add that lack of the medical lack of medical supply and medical medicine to people is not just in low and middle income countries. I'm sitting here in Boston, Massachusetts, with all Harvard affiliated hospitals, and you go to Dorchester in Boston, there are medical deserts just in Boston. You go to Worcester and to like 2 hours west of Boston, 3 hours west of Boston, we still have medical deserts. So it's not just low and middle income countries. We have to help diverse populations in every country. I understand that low and middle income countries are highly impacted, but it's not. But we also see this, unfortunately, in developed countries as well.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear from Dr. Shea about this. Anyway, actually, I wanted to ask you the specific question in my next round about bias and data, but you have brought up that section already about how bias can be a major problem when it comes to data, and good quality data is a must for any kind of good AI tool. And as you have rightly pointed out, it's all about a diverse data set that's required. It's not just one set of data that can make a difference. I don't know whether majority of us have tried this, but recently I heard that if you ask ChatGPT or Gemini or any of the existing AI tools to give a picture of a left-handed person writing with the left hand, it always ends up giving a person with the right hand. I'm not very sure about that, but there is bias and we have to be ready to handle this. So as you have rightly pointed out, the bias data can be a huge difference to our treatment, especially when we are talking of precision treatment and how we are going to handle this. So based on whatever, apart from that, what you have mentioned, would you like to mention how we can handle this? Doesn't how this diversity or this bias can be overcome because of the socio-economic or the diverse genetic variations that exist across the world, whether it's an Indian genetics or Asia, the US or UK for that matter. Every genetics is different. So how are we going to overcome this? What is your opinion on this, Dr. Shea? Sorry, Dr. Roya. I give it
Okay.
back to yourself.
Sorry. I wasn't sure if you're asking me. So basically, I think that something that is very important and critical, a lot of the times right now we're training data on data sets that have been prepared previously, but we need to make sure that going forward and that any data set that is generated, any training and any validation studies that are done on diverse populations. I also know that in terms of AI, there are tools that look at imbalanced populations. So like if you have data that is mostly cancer and you have less of normal, then you can try to utilize AI tools to bring balance. But that doesn't still replace the diversity of the population. As you correctly pointed out, for example, even for breast cancer treatment, the major breast cancer treatment that is used in Caucasians, it was later shown that it doesn't work in Japanese or Asian populations. So that genetic diversity is very important. So I think that regulatory agencies are putting more and more emphasis that when you are getting an approval, you need to have diverse population, diverse localities to demonstrate that your technology along with AI, again, AI is just a tool that can assist in helping with the biomarker analysis, helping with image analysis. So that combination has been used in diverse people in diverse multi-center trials and multi-country trials to incorporate that diversity of the population in the studies. And we need global health organizations, also private organizations like Gates Foundation and groups like that to help bring in low and middle income countries into these analysis, because ultimately the finances is what can dictate how much clinical data you can gather and how many population you can bring together. So there is a social and economical factors behind this as well.
Wonderful to hear from you, Dr. Shea. Next, I would like to move to Peter. So if you talk business and policy, if a hospital knows an AI tool is statistically less accurate for a segment of its patient base, that immediately becomes a massive liability and a failure of public trust. From a business and policy perspective, is this data bias a fundamental blocker for widespread adoption and regulation? And what's the tangible financial incentive for companies to invest the massive resources required to collect truly representative global data? What's your opinion on this, Peter?
Yeah, this is a really great discussion so far, and everything I've heard, I agree with on a general basis. But to simply answer the question, yes, from a business perspective, it's a first order business risk. It's not theoretical. However, and for a list of reasons like clinical harm, the payer pushback, legal exposure, brand trust, developing that trust can be a difficult thing to do. And then the upside of fixing it is obviously going to be like reimbursement, access, contracting advantage, lower liability, durable market share. Those buzzwords can go on for a long time. However, I've always had a very love-hate relationship with the bias aspect of in the AI subset. It's to me, it's all about the data quality, period. And it's when we talk about precision medicine, it's like I find it paradoxical that we say bias because it's like you want your model to actually be very biased to you. Like you want it to work specifically for you and in every case. So I think we have an issue where we're using these large language models and because they're so large, they take in too much information. I think in the near future, the way that we're going to combat this is almost to create small language models and to work to create a better interface of the data that we're getting both from the patient and how the clinician, physician, whoever it may be, is navigating that path to help keep the models precise and not go off some tangent. So yeah, to me, it's all about the data quality and where we're getting the data from. Because even if someone, let's say, just goes to the hospital and they get nervous, so their blood pressure is higher that day. Even just that piece of data is skewed from their homeostasis base. So you're presenting biased data at most of the times. The model should be able to think past that. And do we get that information like wearables? Like an Apple Watch, where we can have the data of over the last 3 years. Here's the average heart rate, et cetera, et cetera. But from a business perspective, it's hard to navigate because of the regulatory components and because of the lack of like subgroup performance, not just overall accuracy. So it could be like it could affect underperformance on protected cohorts, procurement stalls, and it could add legal fees. So navigating that will definitely be a lift. And I think the answer is in more information and creating a larger bandwidth of interface between the physician honing the models.
Wonderful. So this conversation has been going wonderful, and it can go on and on, and if I don't say that. But because we are running short of time, we have already discussed about certain other points, like it's all about human and AI collaboration. We need to collaborate together. It's not an isolated machine here. We are looking at human interface. Human in the loop is the concept that we should be looking. But definitely it's reducing the burden. And also there are gray areas in regulatory compliance about who still owns the responsibility. It's still the man who owns the responsibility. The machine can only guide you. The software developer cannot be blamed right now as per the guidelines, whatever we are looking into. So there are a lot of areas for debate. But I would like to take one last question from all of you about what is your future outlook? What do you see? So about the future, about how AI and oncology is going ahead with this. So let's start from Dr. Roya.
I think that the future is going to be, we're going to be looking at a lot more data, a lot more diverse data, and fine tune and have better AI. And basically, it would allow us to have better patient care pathways. However, again, AI is going to be a tool. Trust but verify. False positive gives you better opportunities for it's not good, but it's better than having false negatives. So overtreatment is better than not treating someone who has the potential of having advanced deadly disease. And we need to have discussions with regulatory and reimbursement, like what Peter was talking about clinicians being able to adapt. But when you go with FDA approval for a system and an AI, that's blocked. The approval is for that. if regulatories don't allow clinicians to modify and change that. But then when you're talking about AI that is being trained and with more information, it becomes better. And with more diverse information, it becomes better. So how do we deal with that regulatory aspect of that? Can regulatory agencies allow us to refine without having to redo the whole clinical trial? So I think I see that as a challenge. And again, I see AI as getting better, but trust and verify clinicians need to, maybe if there are inconsistency, have next level diagnostics or next level validation and verification to definitely identify the patient's disease or lack thereof.
Wonderful, wonderful to hear from you, Dr. Roya. Next, I will share to Shay. What's your opinion about the future outlook, Shay?
Sure. So our vision and what we're building here is the radiologist co-pilot. Okay, we're not here to replace radiologists. We're here to empower them. We're here to save them time, to generate money for them, and definitely to watch their back, making sure they don't miss anything and minimize liability. We want to build a full pan-cancer platform to touch all cancer types. In our vision, the patient shall go through a full body PET-CT scan, and the system will recognize all 15 abnormalities at the earliest stages possible, with the highest levels of accuracy, reliability, and allowing the optimal clinical outcomes. Okay, we want to do everything fully explainable. Okay, not a black box sensor that the machine learning does. Explainable AI, people spoke about it here, is super important, and without no data biases.
Wonderful. Can I hear your future outlook, Dr. Revat? What do you feel the future holds in AI and oncology?
You're on mute, sorry. Dr. Revat.
Yeah, so I would say it's a dynamic imagination for me. I think I would label it as the next decade vision, and I would imagine a oncology clinic where a patient will have a digital twin. So what's a digital twin? It's a AI model of their own biology. Likewise, tumor biopsies and imaging results are instantly analyzed by multimodal AI software or whatever it is. There are multiple treatment plans available for the patients, which are generated, stimulated, even before the implementation. So, continuously, all the data from variables, blood tests, and the feedback from the different models will be adapted in a therapy for the real time. So I think this would be a so-called precision oncology by AI driven model, I think, which is a dynamic, rich data and 100% patient centered. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Jonathan, what is your perspective about future outlook for AI in oncology?
Yeah, I think for me, AI in healthcare offers us, it's a rare opportunity to have both impact at scale and at an individual patient level. I think at a population health level, we can move quite rapidly, I think, beyond just detection of abnormalities to really bring in understanding context, disease trajectory, personalizing care. Do I start your second line drug now? Wait, what are the potential futures for you? That integration of multiple data sources in ways that humans cannot do. So I think the scope at a population level to affect great change, but also at an individual single patient in front of you level, I think we could have huge benefits. Picking up really, I think, on one of Peter's points, as a part of the clinic, me as the doctor is probably the most biased piece of equipment in that room. That's what makes me good, because I watched how you walked in, I watched in who you walked with, I looked for nicotine staining, all these things. And those heuristics make me quick and effective, but can work against me. My recall bias, my availability bias. And so I think having that AI co-pilot that is sort of nudging me when my bias is being unhelpful, so it moves from being this sort of alert box thing to actually being a little bit more, have you thought about, have you considered? Doctors' algorithms aren't retrained. If I was lucky enough to be a doctor practicing in LA and large Hispanic population, and I go over to the east side and I'm in New York with a larger Jewish or black population, no one retrains my algorithm. We completely sweep that under the carpet and pretend it's irrelevant. And yet actually, for our diagnostic sieves, be that as a radiologist in the ER, we absolutely should. And that's where AI, for me, could be really leaning into our decision making. And so at that, for benefiting that one person in front of you in that minute, increasing our chances of doing the right thing for them.
If I may add something, and you're not design locked for FDA approval, so you have that opportunity to be able to interpret and analyze the data that you're looking at.
Yes.
Great. Let's hear from Peter. What do you feel the future outlook holds for us?
I'm increasingly optimistic. I think there's a very abundant future in this space and in all aspects, but it's really going to be about operationalizing the intelligence. I don't think the winners are going to be with the people with these flashiest models. I think it's going to be where they can build systems around this where they coexist. And I'm pretty sure all of us have said it multiple times tonight. It's not about replacing any of the clinicians. It's essentially getting to the next step of intelligence. And when I try to explain to people how to use AI, the example I give them is it's not like riding a bike. It's like you're becoming a Mozart of a symphony. So you're directing where to use the compute to be able to research places that you couldn't before or would take you a lot longer. And I wasn't sure who said it, but someone mentioned that it's one of the best ways to learn. So from that perspective, I think it gives us this untapped potential to reach new echelons of intelligence. So I'm excited by it.
Wonderful to hear from you. And not the least, Dr. Venkat, what's your opinion about the future outlook?
Like everyone, I'm also very excited. But this is a generalized statement. Everybody says, in every conference you go, there's a bit of AI garnishing on every talk nowadays in healthcare. But specifically, if you ask me, I really think AI has got the potential to really shift mankind for the better in the near future. And just as a small example, and this is only a limited scope that we're talking within the space of 1 hour, but it has the potential to cut down on the waste that we do in everyday life, costing millions and millions in the healthcare system. For example, as a radiologist, it makes me do 20 scans instead of 10 scans when I was not using AI before. That's just a time, the cost of opportunity is tremendous if you think about, at a very scale. And you take the example of DNAs in the NHS, did not attend appointments. It's costing the NHS £1.5 billion just because patients are not keeping their appointments. And now there is AI tool, really good ones, which can prevent, which can mitigate this to a large extent. And these are very small examples, but think about applying these kind of solutions at scale to the whole population of the world. Now, the scope is unimaginable. I think we are at a cusp of the greatest shift in healthcare system that we ever had throughout our world. So that's the reason why I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for this truly powerful and candid conversation. It was truly very thrilling for me to moderate the entire session. We have covered the entire landscape, right, starting from bedside, from data science to the bedside. And we have even seen what are the challenges and how to overcome them, and even discussed critical areas of data bias as well as regulatory, which still are gray zones, I would say. And with this, I see the future personally. It's AI and oncology is truly dependent on precision medicine, digital twins. That's the future for us. And we all should be looking forward to making sure a globally data driven, precision driven treatment can be given to all our patients. And I take this opportunity to again thank Etham and Chers and Genesis for giving me the opportunity to moderate. I hand it over back to Pankaj to take it from here. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Dr. Vikram. I think you have been a fabulous moderator. Really, really appreciate that. And thanks to all the panelists, Dr. Roya, Peter, Dr. Revat, Shai, Dr. Venkat, for fabulous, fantastic insights. I'm sure that the people who are watching it on live stream may be feeling very enriched through the insights and conversation. Now we will do a slight transition where Shai, founder of Genesis Medical Vision, will do a quick presentation on the company. He will briefly talk about the solution, the value proposition, and then I would invite all the panelists to ask some difficult questions to Shai. So Shai, please feel free to share your screen and go through the presentation.
Yeah, thank you. Even without sharing my screen, I will mainly speak, and I will beg the crowd's pardon, and I will be speaking about technological aspects. And I think that whoever stayed up until now is willing to bear all of this. And I will touch aspects that went in like a common thread throughout our discussions, which, as we understand it, are some of the main challenges which are hampering the adoption. So again, my name is Shai Cohen, CEO and co-founder of Genesis Medical Vision. Genesis is an early detection of cancer AI platform where the entire company is based on very deep and unique technology that solves some of the main problems which are hampering the adoption of AI into medical imaging in general, but specifically into the early detection of cancer. One of them, for example, an aspect that Dr. Roya spoke about just 10 minutes ago. What's better or what's less worse? False positives or false negatives? What if you can break the paradigm of the trade-off between false positives and false negative? Okay, this is one of the things that our technology allows us. This known trade-off is an inherent limitations of traditional machine learning and deep learning, all of the statistical approach to AI, which is one of the problems that our technology solves. We come with a technology which is a completely new and different approach to AI and image and pattern recognition, which, as opposed to everything you are well familiar with up until now, it is fundamentally non-statistical. But it allows us to truly imitate and replicate the logic and intuition of the physician. Okay, we do not learn by examples as the machine learning does. We do not train our algorithms based on large amounts of data. No, we do something completely different. Instead, we speak with the expert physician. We understand from him what he sees, how he sees it, how he interprets what he sees. We understand the logic. We understand the occurrence in a medical imaging scan. And from this dialogue, we can extract all the important terms and notions also needed for signing the diagnosis report. And for each term and the interrelations between them, we build a mathematical model, a non-statistical mathematical model, which clinically best describes the physical reality and translate it onto an algorithm. At the core of it, this is all we do, but from this approach, many advantages derive. It first of all allows us to completely break the paradigm of the trade-off that we just spoke about. We can constantly increase the accuracy, the sensitivity levels of our system, while at the other end, step by step, suppress false positive rates down until we reach a result that provides a real solution to the problem. Very important, but really not the only one. We're definitely speaking about explainable AI. as opposed to the black box answer the machine learning provides you with, we think that the fact that all we do is replicate the logic of the physician can easily and simply explain our decision outside in a plain, intuitive, color-coded manner, and further allow the radiologist to understand and trust the system, leading to adoption. Data. We're very much not data hungry. Data, which in medicine is difficult to obtain, expensive if you do, gives a lot of biases, but sometimes it's simply not possible. Sometimes there are only 50 known cases in literature for a specific phenomena. You can't build a proper deep learning model based on 50 examples. We can. We can describe every phenomena, rare as it may be, with the same details we describe a very frequently occurring phenomena, and without disrupting all the weight system inherent to the machine learning. And then go on and model edge cases, difficult to detect cases, early detection of cancer cases. Detecting a 4-5 centimeters long tumor, that's an easy task for the human eye or for competing AI models. Detecting a 2-3 millimeters long nodule, or a nodule that sits on top of a blood vessel or on the side of the lung, now that's a difficult task. That's a task where the borders between the classes are vague, and places where you have a lot of inter and intra observer variability. These are exactly the places that interest us. We have specific models and methodologies to model exactly these places of disagreement between physician and a physician and himself, and reach as close to the border as possible. And then go on and speak not only about super important, finally allowing automation, saving time, generating money, minimizing liability, super important, but definitely about the other side and really detecting cancer at earlier stages, smaller sizes, and provide real clinical outcome, better clinical outcomes. Now, as I said previously, in our vision, we're building a full pan-cancer platform, but still a startup company, a very high level of focus. Our first product is for lung cancer, allowing automatic screening of lung cancer, taking the entire process of interpreting a chest CT scan and fully automating it from patient prioritization, triage, to nodule detection, classification by the Langrad score, comparison with the previous follow-up cases, properly segmentizing, measuring the nodule, tracking it, and generating graph showing the growth of the nodule over the course of time, calculating the VDT, and all the way towards a fully automated generated report, recommended report, taking a process that today takes 10 to 15 minutes and allowing the physician to finalize the interpretation in not more than a minute or two. While in parallel, we are building our second product in the platform, which will be for prostate cancer with a slightly different angle. Over there, building a model which, based on imaging only, will allow to dramatically spare the unnecessary biopsies. We're progressing great at all directions, working great with Pankaj, and I'll be more than glad to have an offline direct conversation with any one of you who would be interested into. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Shai, for giving that quick overview. But if there are questions from the panelists, from the audience, happy to take them. And we call this a mini roast session where the subject matter experts essentially provide a brutal, honest feedback, ask difficult, direct questions to the founder on a live stream. So it's pretty bold of the founder, courageous of the founder to take difficult, direct questions on a live stream.
No, please.
So please feel free to unmute yourself, provide your feedback, ask questions, or give insights on anything related to the solution. Yeah.
Pankaj, I think founders are built to take all the roasting. Exactly. But I'm not going to do any roasting anyway. Shay, it's very exciting and wish you the very best. But I would like to see a demo. If you can, just email me some kind of pitch deck.
Sure.
Or some video websites, whatever you can. I'll be glad to have a look. Then we can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Venkat. Appreciate that. Yep, Dr. Revat.
Yes, Shai, it was wonderful and very excited about your model. I would also like to see the demo, especially the prostate one, the nodule one we work on. But the prostate one is very exciting and very interesting. If you can share, or we can do some offline conversation or schedule some meeting for the demo.
I'll be
That
more
would
than
be
glad to.
appreciated.
Thank you, Dr. Revat. Appreciate that. Jonathan, Dr. Vikram, anything from your side? Any question or comment?
No, I totally agree with what Dr. Venkat and Dr. Avatha mentioned. Lung nodules, yes, there are. It's good. There's no doubt about that. Prostate cancer seems more exciting, to be honest, because that's a big burden in across the world, and a lot of pharma companies are also aggressively looking towards early detection of prostate cancer and AI in prostate cancer. So that may be very promising, I would say. All the best for you, and definitely I would like to have a look at your product also and see how we can give you more inputs about it.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Dr. Vikram. Appreciate the kind support. Jonathan, please.
Yeah, Aisha, as the non-radiologist, your platform is undoubtedly going to be better than me. Yeah. But I think from a perspective, there's not many AI founders I've heard that on concepts like this are paying attention to integration, the clinician experience. You've said it several times. Most of the time we've got great technology, so you need to use it. And I think, your description of, do you know what I mean? How you're going to deliver it, deliver explanations, deliver, it feels a far more collaborative pitch, perhaps than a lot that are, are a bit more sort of, because none of this is a point solution, really, is it? It's, as we've said, it's a support, it's a nudge, it's a help. Whereas an awful lot, I think, is sold as it will solve it. Well, solved means taken completely away from me, never to enter my consciousness again. And that's what none of these products are actually doing that. So I think I commend you for perhaps a slightly more honest human approach to it.
Thank you. Yeah, we have 4 clinicians in our team, but me, I come from a business background, not a medical background, and this is how you build a team, an interdisciplinary team, which takes all the aspects. And I'm bringing, as I said, value from other disciplines such as gamification. Who can think of gamification in medical aspects? No, it is important. It is important that you will enjoy working with your tool.
Yeah, your point about gamification is going to pick up, because for me, that feels like one of our best ways of pushing against automation bias. You have to keep it interesting, otherwise,
Yeah, Dr. Venkat mentioned that he's working now offshore from wherever, a digital vagabond. Yeah, is like a user of every other technological product out there. It has to be a good product.
And for sort of Revat and Venkat, they're experienced radiologists, and they were experienced before AI came along. They have looked at thousands and thousands of scans. But if you're a trainee today, do you know what I mean? Like, they're unlikely to ever quite get that same experience to feel they can challenge the AI in quite the same way. So for me, some of this is about building for the future workforce, not just for those who are experienced
now you're touching a very important point.
Route.
Now you're touching a very important point. One of my main co-founders is a head of a radiology department in one of the most important hospitals here. He says how he trains a trainee, an intern in his department. He'll finish the internship when he saw 500-600 CT scans. Okay, but he's an independent radiologist, can sign a report. He'll see the 601 case, and he'll see a case that he'd never seen before. Okay, but he will know how to handle this case because he understands the logic, he understands the principles. He's a human being, he's a smart human being. This is exactly how we build our system. Okay, it's not only knows how to work with the data it's seeing. No, it understands the principles and the logic and can handle each new case that he sees because it understands that. Yeah.
To Jonathan's query, I'd just like to add something. Now, I represent a medical institution where we train our residents, radiology residents, for the future. And what we have been actually doing is, there's a concept of dissertation or PG thesis that happens across the PG training. So we have made sure, not now, from past 3 or 4 years, our students have started working on collaboratively with either startups like with Genesis or somebody else, engineering students, where collaboratively they start work and build some models which will not be very good, but at least they know how to handle and what is the future like, because we cannot escape from it. It's just that how we coexist, and probably that's how we should be looking towards also. The coexistence is the only way forward, I would say.
Yeah, 100%.
Fantastic. No,
Good
it
evening.
has been. Sorry, go ahead, please. Dr. Rashmi, yeah, please go ahead. Sorry, could not take your question earlier. Please go ahead.
Yes, it's okay. Good evening, everybody. I am Dr. Rashmi, working as assistant professor in JSS AHER. Probably Vikram sir has seen me before also, and I was very happy that he is chairing the session. So moderating the session. I'm very proud to say that I am also from JSS AHER myself. So the question is, till now, whatever the discussions happened were the solid tumors, the solid oncology. How to have a detection for the liquid oncology, like where the detection seems to be very, very, very difficult, and also it becomes very critical when it goes for the other part of it. So, like Roya told about the omics, she didn't elaborate on it, but people are going for the metabolome analyst and also the pathway analysis of the omic studies. So how exactly, like, because radiologists, they were telling about the solid tumors, how to go on with the liquid tumors where it's just passed on from one organ or be in a circulating form. How exactly they go for identification and also in treatments. Will the AI helps in detection and the prognostic markers or the treatment of it?
Okay, so if I understand the question correctly, you're asking how we can detect and recognize objects or nodules, which are not solid nodules, semi-solids, ground glass, liquid findings. I will give you a very simple answer. You are a doctor, you're a good doctor, you know what you see. If you can explain to me in simple words, very, very simple words, what you see and why it should be reported, we know how to model it and to build an algorithm accordingly. Simple as that. We call it the housekeeper approach. Please explain to me in simple words, the housekeeper words, what's a cat and what's a dog? How you understand that this is a cat and not a dog? Because it has this type of a mustache or pointy ears. Okay, why do you understand that this is a nodule? Because it has a blurred background or a soft contour? If you can explain to me with simple words, we know how to model it.
Okay, based on the size, like based on the behavior,
based on the size, based on the behavior, based on the shape, the characteristic.
Yes. So those morphological changes.
Based on the things that based on them you are taking your decision. You know what you take your decision, and we know how to push you to the limit when you will tell me, I have explained to you everything that I can explain in words. From here on, I'm taking my decision based on my intuition. And then we have specific models to methodologies to model the intuition as well. Okay.
Yeah. Just to add to what Dr. Rashmi is probably asking is, she's not from the radiology background. So she's not asking about the usual imaging patterns that we are looking at.
Exactly.
It's
Yes,
more
sir.
into the multi-omics pattern that is now we are looking into precision medicine or digital twins as we talk about them. We are now looking into how it's a comprehensive tool at not just looking into the imaging patterns, but how the treatment is going to change based on various other parameters, whether it's the genetic makeup or the blood profile or various other.
Further external clinical data.
Vikram sir, to add on that, like whenever we go for omic studies, different cancers and to patient, the markers also change. Test we have minerals, which is a basic one which we go for. So that is also now, if at all we take it, it will be into AI. But to have something which has to be, very precision, very much into accuracy. So will the AI helps like 100%ly to, like diagnose or to have, like to have specificity in the treatment? That is what is my question. Like, as Dr. Roya told, it is like human intervention should be there, but to develop an AI also, it should be there. Should be some range of markers or molecules which has to be detected, which has to be known. So that is the question which which I meant to have.
Okay, if I understand the question correctly, and you're a bit slightly cut off, so the answer is yes. And incorporating additional external clinical data, that's an easier task. Calculating correlations and statistics, yeah, that's even simpler than going only very precision-wise into taking a decision based on a single image. Okay, but the answer is yes, and it's even a simpler task, that we know how to do, but not specifically our own proprietary technology.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. I think we'll have to take your question offline because your network was a bit choppy, but really appreciate your question. I think thanks all the panelists, and some had to leave because of the time restriction because they have other meetings, but really, again, really appreciate your time. Dr. Vikram, again, you have been a fantastic moderator, chair for this session today. And I'm sure that we will find more ways of collaborating with each other. Shai, Dr. Venkat, again, really appreciate your time. All the audience, viewers watching the live stream or joining the Zoom today. Let's reconnect to see how we can support each other's initiatives, support each other's objectives and projects that you're working on, and take it from there. Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Perfect.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.